You should try making your home just a bit less of a home. What do I mean? When you hear of a person making a house a home, it means customizing it so that they are uniquely comfortable in that house. But you can customize the house so much to the point where it is so much your home that another person cannot make it their home. Later, if you want to get your returns, you will have difficulty selling that house. The better way is to approach getting your home like an investment. There are many good reasons for you to own a home. A degree of security and stability comes with it. Plus, you are not paying rent to another person. Avocados are great. I once heard of how people caught a man stealing an avocado. They then forced him to eat a bunch of them. I don't think this story is true, but that said, it shows that too much of a good thing can harm you. This applies to home ownership. It is good, but there is a way that you can do it that makes it bad for you. On your journey to financial freedom, you do not want to tie up tens or hundreds of millions of your wealth in an asset that is hard to sell. In such a situation, a home can destabilize your finances instead of giving you the desired stability. So, what can turn home ownership into a bad thing? The culprit is when your emotions lead you to make certain decisions. To protect yourself from this problem, you must approach the process of acquiring a dwelling like you would any other investment decision. Do not let the desire to own a home overwhelm you to the point where you lose sight of your other goals. You can block out the sun by holding your hand up and focusing on it. The same way your tiny hand can block the sun is how the drive to have a home can obscure other important financial objectives. Because of the emotions involved, these far-off goals can seem less important. Take the example of your retirement. Depending on your age, it could be decades away and might not feel extremely important. But because of the large amount of money you need in your old age, retirement is your most important goal. Let's say you make 10,000 shillings a month. With the high interest rates on bonds today, you must invest about a million shillings to get 10,000 monthly. If you make 100,000, you will need 10 million. If we are to be realistic, because the interest rates are higher than normal, then you will probably need twice that amount. So you might neglect your retirement and decide to put all your savings into getting a home. But you will have no income in your post-retirement years. What good will a huge home do if you cannot afford to buy food or cannot afford to get the health care that you need? The desire to have a place to call your own will not only affect your long-term goals, but also affect you in the short term. I have come across people that have built or bought what I would call magnificent palaces. A reason some of them give is that they grew up poor and they desired a colossal home. But a huge house is expensive to acquire and maintain. And soon, what you have dreamt about becomes your nightmare in reality. A while back, a story made the rounds on our social media. It was about a lady who had a very high income. I believe she worked for a humanitarian organization. Because of her salary, she could painlessly get a mortgage, and she did. She bought a house worth 50 million shillings. The goal was that she would eventually retire in that home. Unfortunately, she lost her job and the bank recalled the loan. The problem with these stories is that they are usually short on details. And I don't know how, but she lost the house and everything else that she had. Spending too much of your money on a home can put you in a very precarious financial position. The high mortgage payment and the high house maintenance costs will stretch you. You might find it hard to handle unexpected events well. One emergency can devastate you if you tie up too much of your wealth in a house. If your home is to be an investment, then you should try to make it just a bit less of a home. What do I mean? When you hear of a person making a house a home, it means customizing it so that they are uniquely comfortable in that house. You can over customize the house to the point where it is so much your home that another person cannot make it their home. You will have a hard time selling that house in the future. A spectacular example of this is Michael Jordan's home in Chicago. It is without a doubt a stunning home that Jordan built from scratch. He built it customized to his tastes so that he was comfortable and completely at home in it. But this customization has made that house hard to sell. As of last year, it had been on the market for 10 years. He cut the price of the house in half so that it was going for 14 million, and he also tried other things. However, there were no buyers. This tends to happen to mega mansions. One in New York has been on and off the market for 16 years. The customizations you make on your home will take up much of your money. Ironically, it will also make your home hard to sell. You might lose some of the capital gains in your home because you will have to sell it at less than you would have hoped to. You need to build your home for the general market if it is to be an investment. You need to be able to easily sell your home because there are only two ways to make money from an investment. You make money if it produces an income or if you can sell it for a higher price than you paid for it. Your home will not create an income, and so the way for you to get your returns is by selling it. If it is hard to sell, it will be hard to get those returns. Let me illustrate this by comparing a public company to a private company. A public company is not necessarily a government organization. It is a company that is listed on a stock exchange so that anybody in public can buy its shares. You don't need a lot of money to buy those shares. On the other hand, individuals own the shares of a private company. So if you want to buy those shares, you would approach the individual. If they are willing to sell, you negotiate a price and do all the legal paperwork that goes with it. This transaction will involve a large amount of money. Public companies are therefore much easier to buy and sell than private companies. It means that there are more people who are available and willing to buy public shares, and so getting your returns from a public company is much easier than from a private company. How you build and own a home must make it easy for other people to buy it from you. That is the only way you can get your returns from it. It is not an investment if it is hard or impossible to sell. The first thing is for you to save up the down payment for your future home. The more down payment you have, the smaller the mortgage you will need. This will make your life easier because you will have smaller monthly payments. You will also be able to clear the debt much faster. Selling the home will be much easier than if it has a mortgage attached to it. As we said, the fewer complications in the transaction, the more people will be available and willing to buy the property. Second, remember that a home has ongoing costs. An investment needs to provide greater benefits than costs. Before buying or building a house, ensure you can afford those ongoing costs. The way that you can know this is by creating a budget. Figure out how much you need to build your emergency fund, contribute to your retirement, and if you have children, how much you need to save for their education. The cost of owning the home should not interfere with these goals. Finally, if you are building, then build the home as if you intend to sell it. You may not have a reason to sell it at the time, but you need to start with the end in mind. This means that you need an architect to design it for you and professionals to build it. Please stick to the plan and resist the urge to make it too much of a home. A few days ago, while driving to work, I noticed a house with floor tiles on the perimeter wall, and the outside walls were covered entirely in floor tiles. Don't do that if you want to sell your home quickly. Homeownership is a great thing to pursue, but it is not your most important financial objective. Never neglect your retirement plans for the sake of getting a house. Be conscious of the proportion of your wealth in a house. When you put in too much, you will find that you will be financially destabilized. When it is time for you to acquire a home, build or buy one that will be easy to sell later if you want to. A character from a movie called Heat in '95 said, "Don't let yourself get attached to anything you are not willing to walk out on in 30 seconds flat if you feel the heat around the corner." This is an excellent test of whether you have the right investment mindset. An essential principle in investing is never get emotionally involved. When you are emotionally caught up in an investment, it becomes hard for you to let go of it when things go wrong. What I have shared in this episode will help you acquire a home with the right investor mindset.